Tensions remain high out in Minnesota hours after ICE agents shot and killed a woman. I'm Blair Miller.
And I'm Tracy Hutchins. That incident now being called preventable by Minnesota's governor and an act of domestic terrorism by the Trump administration. Sherelle Hubbard lays out what we know about the investigation into what happened.
A growing crowd of mourners fled the streets of Minneapolis to honor a 37-year-old woman fatally shot by federal agents. Earlier in the day, video captures the moments leading up to the deadly encounter. A woman in her vehicle, the dark-colored SUV, blocking the road. Federal agents drive up and approach the vehicle. One agent appears to pull on the woman's door handle, and she starts to drive away. An agent shot the woman before her vehicle crashed on the side of the road.
I saw the passenger exit the vehicle. They were crying and their face was covered in blood. The agents on the scene were shouting, "No pulse, no pulse."
Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the woman attacked ICE officers with her car.
This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism.
Noem went on to say one of the officers involved in the shooting was previously dragged by a car in a separate incident in June. Minnesota's governor calling the killing senseless.
Do you have no decency? We have someone dead in their car for no reason whatsoever.
A community in mourning. The mayor of Minneapolis slamming DHS.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull.
Sherelle Hubbard, Atlanta News First.
And tonight, outrage here in Metro Atlanta, condemning the deadly actions in Minneapolis. Atlanta News First anchor Sydney Stallworth continues our team coverage now in downtown Atlanta, where a vigil was held earlier tonight.
Blair, that's right. Vigils in Minneapolis and vigils here in Atlanta just hours ago. Demonstrators took over the sidewalk behind me, paying their respects and voicing their outrage just steps away from Atlanta's ICE field office.
Justice for Renee. Justice for Renee.
Chants, candles, and calls for change. Dozens of activists taking to the streets of Atlanta, holding a vigil in response to Wednesday's deadly shooting in Minneapolis.
The video's horrific.
Video circulating online of the moment 37-year-old Renee Good was shot inside a car by an ICE officer. President Trump posting on Truth Social, Good, quote, viciously ran over the ICE officer. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem saying Good weaponized her vehicle against the officer. But Minneapolis's mayor and Minnesota's lieutenant governor say video of the incident did not show that.
An institution that's supposed to be here to make our country great again, it's supposed to protect us, supposed to protect its civilians, its people, and it's turning its guns on us and making it seem like it's okay to kill an American citizen because they're trying to get away.
Georgia Representative Buddy Carter praising the officer's actions, saying in part, quote, "I applaud the brave officer who stood up to this domestic terrorist and pray for all those still recovering." In Metro Atlanta, many of these demonstrators say they've been mobilizing for months against ICE activity in our area.
It's showing that the Atlanta community stands in solidarity with the people in Minneapolis and is demanding justice for this woman who was murdered, showing that the people in Atlanta want ICE out of their streets. They want ICE out of our communities, and that we're willing to fight for it.
Abolish ICE.
It's really important that people, see what happened in Minneapolis and take this as a chance to act.
This is representatives from lots of organizing groups and community groups in Atlanta who came together to say, we will answer today, not one more.
At least 2 other demonstrations are planned in the area for Thursday. Another one here at the Atlanta ICE field office and one at the state capitol. That's the very latest from downtown. I'm Sydney Stallworth, Atlanta News First.